everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. All right, we got a week full of stuff we did last week, of course. We're back. This episode, as always, is sponsored by Pandasaurus Games, who right now on Kickstarter, they have the new Dinosaur World and Roar and Write. So if you liked Dinosaur Island and you want to play the sequel, that Kickstarter is going on now. Check the description below for a link to that Kickstarter. Also, we got a new game from them called the game Quick and Easy, and that's the game we're giving out in our contest today. This is very similar to the game where you're making an ascending pile and a descending pile of cards. It's a cooperative game, although this one is quicker and easier than the previous one. Z Garcia will be reviewing it, but we're giving out 3 copies of this game to folks in North America. All you got to do is to enter this is to email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the description, put the word EASY, E-A-S-Y, and then put your address in the description. 1 entry per household, and we'll pick 3 of those randomly by next week, and hopefully you'll win. Well, it's another week. We are getting closer to our Essen coverage, which is going to be near the end of October during the Spiel online. And we're going to be playing through live games. Publishers and companies who are watching, if you want to be involved in that, you need to email us as quickly as possible because our lineup is filling up. So that's something for you all to look forward to. What we're going to look forward to is we play a bunch of new and upcoming games. We'll be announcing some of those games as we get closer to that event. Also, if you haven't heard, we're doing the Winter Spectacular in December, which will be very similar to our Summer Spectacular, except the Winter Spectacular will be bookended by the best of the year. We're going to talk about all the games that we enjoyed throughout the year, but all different other things, game playthroughs and so on. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Alrighty, well, let's get started. Here we go. I'm going to cheat here real briefly because the game that I'm talking about from 30 years ago is Advanced Heroquest. Now, obviously, this is on everybody's lips because Heroquest was just put up on their own Kickstarting site of sorts by Hasbro and has funded extremely well. Although, interestingly enough, they've kept it pretty much the same as HeroQuest. Advanced HeroQuest, which came out very shortly after HeroQuest, and I believe may have only been available in Europe, was essentially the same game with just a few extra things that were added, an extra quest, some extra figures. So that's why I'm saying we're cheating. I'm actually talking about HeroQuest. I don't know that I ever played Advanced HeroQuest. It's possible I've come across a copy of it. But HeroQuest itself, not a game that I think has aged tremendously well, which makes me surprised that Hasbro has decided to basically reprint it, but hey, nostalgia equals money. But it was a game that we loved as a kid. In fact, I've done a video on this channel, why games I love, or games that changed my life, I guess, and one of them was HeroQuest. I think it's a fantastic game that I played as a kid. We loved it. We played it over and over. It was a game that taught me to be a dungeon master. A lot of cool things. About 5 or 6 years ago, I pulled it out. I got a copy of it, played it with my daughter, and we were like, this just hasn't aged well. There's so many other dungeon crawlers now that probably do a better job. But for its time, again, we're talking 30 years ago. I was 14 when this came out. That was perfect timing, and there's a whole generation of people my age who are playing role-playing games and dungeon crawl games. HeroQuest was certainly one of the games that pointed that to us. So I'm glad it existed. I'm glad it's out there. I'm glad people are having fun spending vuku amounts of money satisfying their nostalgic feelings. Some people, and I know lots of people like the game too, and that's fine. But it's back. Will it, is there a game that comes out now in 2020 that 30 years from now we'll look back and be like, that's the game that changed my life? I don't know. It's really hard to tell in the time. But the front cover of this game is still iconic. Still, when I walked by and saw it in the store, I thought, woof, that's really neat. So just an interesting thing. And hey, 30 years later, or 30 plus years later now for the original HeroQuest. So that's what I'm kind of talking about this week. 30 years ago, Advanced HeroQuest.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we're talking about
Titanic the game. This is based on the movie.
Yes, so it's another one of the
IP game.
Yeah, there's been a lot of IP games coming out over the last couple of years that have been, good modern style board games, and I like to see that.
This is the designer of Sagrada, the team that created Sagrada.
Yes. So you would think that Titanic the game would be a cooperative game,
no.
But it is not. It's a competitive game to see who can be the most heroic, rescuing the most passengers, getting the most passengers on lifeboats, and there's a few other ways to score points as well, objectives and things like that. And it's an action point allocation type of game.
And some of the cards are coming from the movie, and it's really fun. So there's one card that tells you to hold on to the table, and then tell everybody to hold in and don't let go, and then you have to drop under the table, and then you win some points. So it's quite a small part of it though, but the rest it's actually a very decent game. And action point allowance, which I like, and you have to save all the passengers to the lifeboats, and then at the end you have to go to the lifeboat yourself, otherwise you'll lose by default.
Yeah, there's lots of...
There's a door as well though.
It's got the innovation of... It's on a dry erase board with a whole lot of tiles, so you will be crossing things out on the game as you go along. You have to build up your engine, get more action cubes, get more life rings to save people on, and it's also quite a quick game. It's over inside, 2 players with 9 rounds, and plays really well.
So that's it. We are Meeple University on YouTube and also on the Dice Tower for how to play, pocket playthrough, and live playthrough. See you next time.
Hey there, folks. This is Brandon with All Aboard Gamer. And today I'm introducing a brand new segment to our channel called On Second Thought. Lexi and I have had some pretty amazing experiences with games over the last few years. And some of those experiences have been very surprising in one way or another. What we're talking about are games that we may have just never wanted to even think of playing. We ended up playing them, and boom, it's just, wow, we see why this was so popular. But then the converse can be true. Games that we thought were really good and we were told were really good and everybody likes them, and you feel like you're supposed to like them, and then you play them and you're just like stinky. So the first game featured in our brand new segment probably will shock you, because it is a popular game. It's in the top 100 games on Board Game Geek right now, and it probably won't be leaving anytime soon, and that is the titan of abstract games, Azul. Believe it or not, up until 2 weeks ago, Lexi and I have never played Azul, not even one time. Never had an interest in it, didn't even want to deal with the hype, and so we just sort of passed on it. And then I sort of got a little, I sort of poo-pooed it a little bit. This game can't be that good. Well, on a recent trip that we had taken, we were in a board game store, we were by ourselves, and we saw it in the library, and we said, what do we dare? Do we dare to sneak it to the table? And we did. And boy, I tell you, we loved it. And we loved it so much, we ordered a copy and then came home, and within a couple of days, added Summer Pavilion. We're probably going to skip on Sintra. Azul is one of those games where, we just never played it and never got it to the table. And now that we have, we've definitely had second thoughts. So we hope you've enjoyed this segment. If you like it, please head on over to our channel. But in the meantime, enjoy your breakfast.
I got these, and these are cubes. So think Funkoverse, but you're getting a cube. You're a Euro gamer, and there's 6 of them: zombies, farming, pirate, sci-fi, horror, fantasy. Or as I would like to say, green, yellow, blue, purple, red, and black. Now the sci-fi cube is not actually with the ones I have today, because Roy stole it, as he is the sci-fi guy. Let's take a look here and see what's in here. So there it is. It's a cube. I keep dropping it. So that's what you're hearing, is a bunch of stands. This is a wooden cube, a wooden black cube, and then with it, and this is from Top Shelf Fun, who makes Meeple pillows, we have a bunch of cutouts. So this one's fantasy. So like you can cut out this sword and put it in one of these. This is what's weird about this to me. Well, one of the many things that's weird about this to me. So I get the aha part of this, right? Hey, look, it's a yellow cube. I can open this up and I can put a yellow cube on my shelf. And I get that's the funny part. I don't understand why the other stuff's included. It's either a joke or it's not a joke. Once you include, here, the farming animals, once you include those, it kind of tells people what the joke is. It's like the guy explaining the joke afterwards. So I don't really care about that stuff. The cubes are okay. I mean, and there's a nice background there inside this for the cube. And now I have a giant yellow cube. So that's a black cube, a yellow cube. We also have a blue cube, a red cube, a green cube, and like I said, Roy stole the purple cube. So this would make a good gag gift for somebody, I'm sure. Like, hey, you have cubes and, you're a Eurogamer, you don't have Funko Pops, instead you have Funko Cubes. So, it's interesting. I don't know that I would buy them, but except maybe as a gag gift. But there you have, from Top Shelf Fun, it was the brainchild of Board Game Serial Flip Flory from there. And there you go, the cube. Here's the horror cube. It doesn't look that scary.
Welcome to Survey Says, where we survey you listeners and we discuss the results. We're the Board Game Weekenders. I'm Colby.
And I'm Steven. In this week's episode, we asked, do you rate your games on Board Game Geek?
Me personally, I will usually rate my games. When I play it, I don't immediately go and rate it. Typically, it's like I'm on Board Game Geek on like a Saturday or, not doing anything. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'll rate some games I've played.
Yeah.
It's not something I feel like I have to do. But if I get the chance to do it, I will.
Yeah, it's weird because I haven't rated anything. And it's really weird because I think what I do instead is I have the BG Stats app. And log all my plays on there, but I don't rate them on Board Game Geek for some reason. I'm not sure why, because I do look at that information, so it seems like I should, but I'm more in I guess I'm in the never column here. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like now I'm so far behind that I'm like, well, I don't want to go rate my 1,000 so games I played. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's daunting to be like, oh my word, I have all this to do.
Exactly. Yeah. And some, I think, the occasional people might be like, they want to rate the really high ones or really low ones maybe. Like those 7s are in between. They're kind of like, I don't feel like I need to rate it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think those are probably ones that just stick out to them.
Yeah. And I wonder how many people have rated a game before it's come out. Like the controversy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Dude, with Kickstarter now.
Thanks for checking out this week's episode. Let us know your thoughts on the results in the comments below.
Look out for next week's survey on Twitter at BG Weekenders, and make sure to tune in to the next episode of Survey Says.
Hey there, everyone. It's Jen, the board game librarian, and I'm joined with a breakfast special guest today. And I'm joined with Hunter from By the Numbers. I had a kind of fun proposition that I had sent out to Hunter in terms of some statistics from my library's board game collection, and he was on board. So Hunter, if you want to talk a little about some of the things I sent over to you, trends you saw.
So you gave me your checkout, kind of what was checked out by month, and I grabbed a recent month and looked at it, and I think you were kind of looking at maybe potentially getting rid of some games or moving in some new games. And I kind of looked at, okay, what was being checked out and what wasn't being checked out. And I found it really interesting that the way it kind of fell was the ones towards the top that had tons of checkouts were kind of your mainstream, I don't know, big box store kind of games. And the down towards the bottom, the games that didn't get checked out at all were kind of more the ones that people would be unfamiliar with and ones that were harder to learn.
I think I ran those numbers for July 2020. And to give a little perspective, those are our adult and teen collections combined. So if you maybe get the top 3 games that were checked out.
Sushi Go was the #1 game. It's checked out 33 times. We didn't play test this at all. It was #2, which is cool, 32. And that's more of a, again, another big box one you'd find at like a Walmart or a Target, right? They may be familiar with that one. And then Escape Room game was #3, which is another interesting game. It's a good family game, a good one you can jump in, play real quick. And then right after that, Settlers of Catan, which is a big, meaty Euro game, which is really cool. So I find it very interesting.
So were you surprised in terms of the ones that were the most popular? Was that a surprise to you? Were there any titles you thought were going to be up in the top that weren't?
No, well, Catan kind of surprised me, but it is probably the most common, well-known, heavier game, right? So that doesn't surprise me. But all the other ones were really light that were around that area, Carcassonne and Wink and games like that. No, I wasn't too surprised. The top portion of games that were checked out, looking at the BGG, I'm a BGG nerd. They were a whole point lighter than the ones towards the bottom that weren't being checked out.
What was at the bottom of the list?
They're big, heavy games like Nemo's War and Zombicide and big games like that.
Yeah, your observations too in terms of what people are checking out is so spot on. I think what's wonderful for me about having a collection at my library is that we're building a brand new group of people as gamers, that we're providing an opportunity for families who maybe aren't gamers or have played a lot of the classic big box store games, and giving them a free option to come in and try out this great new hobby that we all love. I never have anything that I end with other than happy breakfast. How about you, Hunter?
I just say see you next time. So I guess
All right,
I'll just say see you next time.
See you next time.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I got a few of them up here on the wall. We got the Joker, Diabolical Party Game, Nerd Word Science, both of those party games, War of Supremacy, Dino Oblivion, a 2-player dinosaur game, and we're going to be doing a live play, actually, of Meeple Land this week, the new game from Blue Orange. So all that and more is coming. I see huge piles of games. We'll be taking a look at the new Marvel Legendary expansion and more. So stay tuned for that. Also, our podcast is going up tomorrow. Me, Eric, and Suzanne talk about games that defy Vasel's Law. Vasel's Law, which says that if a game is great, it will come back in print. But have all great games come back in print? HeroQuest may have made the list a week ago. Anyhow, that's what's coming up this week. Watch all the stuff on our channel, Dicetower.com.
The great thing about dexterity games like this one is a toddler can be legitimately better than you at it. Something about their tiny hands. So how do we level the playing field? Well, I can't really shrink the size of my hands, but I can increase the size of the game pieces. So on today's episode, we're going to be supersizing some wooden game components. Hi, I'm David, and today we're making another unnecessary but fun project using simple tools and household items. And man, I'm really excited for this one today. It takes a little bit of patience, but all the steps are very manageable, and the result is a very cool, rigid jumbo game piece. Now, I don't expect you to make a full set like these ones, but making just one piece can be a very nice decoration for your game room. And I've provided a number of templates for you to choose from in the link shown. First, print out the pattern you want to use on colored paper, then glue it onto the smoother side of some corrugated cardboard. Trim out the shape using a knife. The patterns with fewer inside curves will be easier. Cut strips of the same color of paper 2 or 3 inches wide until you have enough to make a continuous strip greater than the perimeter length listed on the template. Glue these strips along a straight edge of another piece of cardboard. Then trim the cardboard down to the paper size. Mark the thickness of your cardboard at multiple points along the edge of the strip. Then use a ruler and a knife to cut only partially through the cardboard along this line. You want to cut through most of the corrugation, but not any of the bottom layer. Now my favorite part. Peel away that top layer of cardboard to leave just a step down to the bottom layer. Okay, now take an old pen and crush the back face along each trough in the corrugation. Now your cardboard can bend smoothly. Align the front and back pieces and mark a common starting point on both edges in pencil. There will be a seam here, so pick a hidden spot. Moving in 1 to 2 inch sections at a time, use hot glue to attach the edge strip to the front and back pieces. You want to get glue on the ends of the corrugation as well as the flat layer of the edge strip. Okay, so this may seem tedious, but it is so satisfying as it comes together into a 3-dimensional strong structure. When you get to the end, trim the excess edge to length and glue the end in place. And there we go, we're done. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video and maybe you'll go out and try making your own favorite game piece. And I'll see you next time on another Upgrade DIY.
Hey guys, it's Deanna. Today I'm going to be sharing with you another educational game that you can play with your kids. Today I'm going to be talking about the game Scrabble Junior. Scrabble Junior comes with a double-sided board. One side is more suited for younger kids with words that are already on the board. The other side is blank and more like the traditional Scrabble game. For the easier version, each player gets 7 tiles. On your turn, you play 2 tiles. If you complete a word, you move your character token on the point tracker. If you complete a word that matches the color of your token character, then you will earn an additional point for that word. The player who earns the most points is the winner. This game is easy to play and I think it's great for a variety of ages. However, it can sometimes take a while to play. The easy side of this board will work great for ages 5 and older. But the harder side I would recommend for older kids, I'd say ages 8 and up. For our family, Scrabble Junior has been a really fun game for practicing spelling. I really like that there is an easier side for younger kids and a more advanced side for the older kids on the back. And if you guys are looking for a fun spelling game, then definitely consider checking it out. But that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of Board Game Breakfast, and I'll see you next time with another educational game.
Good morning everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful breakfast. I'm Nathan from the Cinemeeple, and today, whether you love them or hate them, it's time we go rescue some cats.
I've been thinking a lot lately about negatively simplifying things. It's something that we all tend to do when we don't like something. And this came up actually in a review I did last week where I reviewed Tellstones, and I said that it's just a memory game, which I 100% stand by that statement. But we often say that about games to kind of belittle them. You're like, all you do in this game is you just move cubes back and forth. All you're doing in Dominion is you're just building a deck, and all you do is shuffle, 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 shuffle. And really, we can take that to almost any game. Now, I don't know that you could maybe take Terra Mystica or, Campaign for North Africa and say, all you do in this game is move things up and down track, but we can. And you know what? I think sometimes the one main mechanism of a game or something about a game that we don't like comes to the forefront. And we will say that's the main mechanism of a game. But this is almost only ever done in a negative way. All you do is kick the door down and do this. All you're doing is chucking tons of dice. And these can be, they're not usually truthful statements, but they can even be close to the truth. But we kind of sneer at them. And the fact is, you can take almost any game and break it down into a sentence or two and then sneer at it a little bit. Like, all you do in this game is this. And that's it. Now, I don't know that this is a bad thing. Like, I'm not here to necessarily criticize people who do that because, well, we do it all the time. You'll hear us in our top 10s. We're going back and forth. I'm like, that game, all you do is shuffle cards. That game, all you do is laying cards out. That's it. Like I said, it's like a negative aspect to it. But I think we have to be very cautious in it because these things can usually be turned around on us. All this game is stacking blocks. All that game is simply just trying to figure out one piece of information. So when we take a game, we will focus sometimes on the negative. One of the things that I often do when I teach, I'll show people a white sheet of paper and I'll put a dot in the middle. I'm like, what do you see? And people are like, oh, we see the dot there. Yeah, but you don't see all the white around it. You focus on the one dot, the one negative thing. And we tend to do that with games. We pick one negative thing we don't like about that game, and that overwhelms us. Like maybe Dominion. I don't like shuffling, so man, the shuffling, this game's just about shuffling. Well, it's really not. There's really a lot of other things in the game, but the shuffling is such a negative thing that has overwhelmed any other thing I have about that game. Or maybe a game that has a mix of mechanisms, but we pick one of them, like rolling dice. I just hate chucking these dice. All I do is chuck dice. Yeah, but you missed the fact that there's card play and this and that. So what am I saying here? I don't really know. I think I'm just being more introspective, looking at the things I say about games, where I go, I am taking this game that a lot of people enjoy and I'm diluting it down to one mechanism. There are games that are one mechanism. Candyland is simply flip a card over and move. There's literally nothing else in it. Like I said, I would argue that Tellstones is just memory. I would argue that Jenga is just dexterity. There are games that are simply a single mechanism. But there are games that are more than that, and I've been guilty of distilling them down to a single mechanism where I critique it based on that. But if that mechanism causes me to dislike the game, perhaps that's the right move for me to talk about. It's an interesting subject. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Do we tend to distill games down to the one thing, and is it a bad thing or a good thing? Maybe it can help us, because if I say, for example, that Dominion is so much shuffling and I don't like it, and someone else who hates shuffling might go, oh, that's helpful to me. I don't know. But that's what I'm thinking about today.
Hi everyone, my name's Danielle from the YouTube channel Board Game Bakes. This week I'm going to show you how to make some fun tiles from King Domino. King Domino is a fun 2 to 4 player game that's about 15 minutes, so it's a nice light game to play in between. I'm going to do it with some apple cider spice cookies because, believe it or not, we're very close to, or some places already starting fall. So I'm going to show you how to make the tiles so you can play your own edible game. Here's how you do it. The first step in doing the fun part of decorating is to outline the cookies. I decided to do all of them in this tan. The next step is to flood in the sides. I followed the directions and I randomly picked 24 tiles. So I'm having each cookie correlate with a tile. I flipped over all of them. This is a reflection, so that wasn't really how you write numbers. But I took an edible marker on the back of all of them, and I put the number that correlates on the tile because you need that to play the game. Here I'm drawing one of the houses on the water. I decided for these to outline them in black first. Now we're filling in some of that area that we outlined before. So filling in with yellow and white. And a little brown for the deck. Now I'm going through, and since these dried, I'm just adding the little stumps with a brown edible marker. More details to the ocean ones to make it look like the picture, because they have some details in the straw and some log-like appearances. Thanks for watching this quick overview for how to make your own edible King Domino tiles. If you want to see more details or maybe a little slower, tune into my channel Board Game Bakes, and please hit subscribe. Keep playing games and keep them sweet. Bye!
Brandy and Ellen, we game together.
Can we play now?
Yes.
Hi guys, I am Randy.
I'm Ellen, where we game together.
And today we are continuing a series yet again
Yes.
of the games that got us into
Yes.
the hobby. Next one on the list is One Night Ultimate Werewolf, the most ultimate of the werewolves, from June 2nd of the same year, 2015.
Yes.
This is a one-night version of the common werewolf or kind of mafia game,
Yes.
if you're not familiar with that. And where everybody gets a role, and you're on different teams, and the role will kind of, you know, if you're the wolf, you have to obviously win, but then there's people that will help the wolves.
There's like villagers
and
and
villagers that are just kind of nobodies,
basically,
right?
you don't want to be caught if you're the wolf, right? And you're just picking people off.
Yeah, and this is just happens for one night. So games typically only last, you can set a timer like 15 minutes or less. Yeah. And so this is a great version. You don't, even if you get knocked out, you're just starting a new game up shortly anyway.
Right.
Whereas a full mafia game or a full werewolf game, you get knocked out, you gotta wait a while.
Yeah.
But this is a good party game. It's a social deduction game.
Yeah.
I know you're not a huge fan of social deduction. What about this one? Of the social deductions out there. Fine?
I feel pretty...
I think you need
about
a
it.
good group with it for sure to make it really shine.
I know I would have fun. It's just not my favorite style.
Turn
the
it
other
off.
game on the list is Time's Up, and I love this game so much. This is teams. I think you can do teams of like multiple teams. It doesn't have to be one against the other.
Yeah, you can do like all teams of two,
and
or you can
two.
do like, you know, like 5 people on a team. It really doesn't matter. You do it however
So
you want.
basically, you have a set of cards, and everybody looks through them, and you take. I think you pick the ones that you know you'll be able to give clues for.
Yeah,
and
so everybody
you
gets
shuffle them in.
Yeah.
And you have to try to give clues by like one word, and then per round they take out like now you can't say anything. Now you can only do the hand motions, or like now you can only say one word, or now only sounds. Or
yeah.
So it chips away at your
But
ability
it's the
to give
same
clues.
group of cards every time.
Yeah.
And each person at the table gets to
It's
like
so
contribute
good.
a couple, but then there's other ones in there also. So generally you're trying to pick ones you want, just like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, then there's the 3 different rounds, and you're doing them from the same one, so it's harder to give the clues, but you're familiar with them enough.
Right, like if you made like a tree, or
Right.
maple or whatever, you'll find yourself being like, doing those same weird.
And
hand
honestly,
motions.
like
It's
the
just so
best
fun.
part is like when somebody like messes up.
Yeah.
And then that is
Love
now
that.
like the clue for the next round.
Yes.
Like, oh, shoot. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? But now like shoot or whatever is like the one
what
that
you're
makes everybody
associating
guess.
with
Yeah.
them.
Super
Oh, it's a
fun.
good
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
It's my
Excellent
favorite.
game. Probably my favorite party
Lazy
game.
gaming
I
at
think.
its finest.
Especially I think it's at least my favorite high player count game.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That one definitely check out. One Night Ultimate Werewolf. I think of the social deductions, it's one of the better ones, but you know.
Do whatever you got to do.
All right, guys, and we will see you again on the next one.
Bye-bye.
And there you have it, folks, another board game breakfast. Thanks so much for watching. Keep an eye out for all the different things we do this week. We got live things happening. Each day we usually try to have something live, like today. Z Garcia will be doing an app live. I do one on Wednesdays. On Tuesday, tomorrow, we'll be doing a live playthrough. Wednesday, we have crowd surfing. Thursday, we'll have a live top 10 coming up this week with special guests. Hope you come back and enjoy that. And so we have these things, and at night, sometimes at 9 o'clock, we have no strings attached, where different people from the Dice Tower will play through a game for no other reason than just because it's fun, and you can watch those live playthroughs. Anyhow, thanks for watching the Dice Tower. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.